Welcome back to another podcast. This is Abe Cohn, and we are here with a new cannabis thought leader, Elizabeth from Toke. Elizabeth, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be on your podcast.
Great. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into the industry? What are you doing now? And let us get to know you a bit.
Sure. Well, I started smoking weed in college, like a lot of people. It started out just as a little bit of personal exploration, but it turned into so much more. I now use marijuana for a lot of different reasons: medical, personal, social. I found that it helps to make me a better person. It helps make me more aware of what I'm doing. It helps to make me more creative. And so I set out to create Toke. As soon as Washington State legalized marijuana, we decided that we wanted to start a publication. So we are online only right now. Toke is available at toketank.com. We're on all kinds of social channels. And we really aim to prove to the world that marijuana users can be productive, successful, and positive people.
Wow. Okay. And so tell us a little bit more about Toke. So it's a media publication outlet of some sort. What type of content are you putting up there? How do you decide what content you'd like to have on the site? How does all of that work?
Sure. I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you, Abe, but it sounds like you're asking just about our types of content that we provide.
Yeah. How do you go about choosing, what the theme of the site will be, vis-a-vis the content that you put on it?
Definitely. Well, really, it's whatever resonates with us. We started out just almost to prove to ourselves that marijuana could be a viable part of our lives. I found that Cannabis, the cannabis closet, has been something that has really been created within my own head and not within the world that I live in. So I personally created Toke so I could prove to myself, really, that I could be a professional person smoking weed and making it, productive. So pretty much whatever resonates with us. We do a lot of lifestyle content. We do a lot of spotlights with other companies so that we can, showcase other industry leaders and show how they use marijuana within their life. But really, it's any kind of content. We cater to anyone from the brand new weed smoker to the person that's been doing it for 30, 40 years. So it really is a wide range of content.
Yeah, and I would imagine that you've spoken to a lot of different interesting people over the course of the publication. Does anyone really stick out in your mind as someone that you're happy that you've connected with, even without naming them, but just, some interesting person that kind of stands out in your own mind?
Yeah. Well, for starters, we're really glad to have connected with you at THC Legal Group. We profiled Howard a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that was really great. He was the first person we've spoken to who doesn't personally use cannabis, but still feels like it's a great thing for the world. And so that was a really cool perspective to see.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Definitely with our firm, we are heavy libertarian-minded and want kind of people to do as they want to do. So yeah, we're happy to be on there. Okay, and then have you had any kind of kooky, wacky people that you've interacted with that that make you question being in the industry?
Not anything that would make me question being in the industry. We get to know so many different people, and everyone is really so diverse, and they use cannabis for a different reason. And so we really like to find out what their personal reason is. And then, like I said, back to that cannabis closet thing, we also ask everyone we profile about their personal experience with cannabis and how their journey out of the cannabis closet has gone. And so I think that's going to be really helpful for a lot of people that are, fighting that battle within themselves.
Interesting. Okay, well, so what is the future of Toke? Do you see yourself monetizing it, turning it into a subscription-based news service? What do you want to do with it?
Well, right now, Toke is pretty young. We're in our third year, and we're really overwhelmed with the amazing responses that we've received from our readers. It seems like people really like the idea that cannabis can be, an enhancer to your life and not something that necessarily makes you who you are, but it's just something that you do, and it's not something that should be judged. So we have, a lot of little ideas, some bigger ideas, but right now we're just really, enjoying that success that we weren't expecting, and we'll see, what our readers want from us.
Wonderful. Okay, interesting. So if someone wants to be potentially featured on your site or profiled in some way, they can reach out and contact you and introduce themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Similar to the way that we met you guys, just, go onto our website, toketank.org, and click the contact page and reach out, let us know who you are, and we will definitely get in touch with you if we think that you're going to be a good fit for a spotlight.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, well, the industry as a whole is really kind of undergoing some interesting transitions right now. A couple weeks ago, we had a bunch of states that came under the fold of full adult use, and California, Massachusetts, a bunch of them. But, other people are focused more on Donald Trump and what his administration means for the cannabis industry. What is your sense of that? Do you think that the Trump administration is going to be more difficult on the industry, or if not him himself, Jeff Sessions, other more right-wing conservatives? How do you view that?
Yeah, we were really excited when we learned that the amount of states that had legalized cannabis for both medical and recreational purposes had doubled. And so we've been just over the moon about that. I think that is so wonderful that that is happening in our country. It's such an exciting time. I think it's a little too early to tell how the new administration is going to treat cannabis, but the other, industry people I've talked to, we kind of have come to the pre-idea, that he is going to be pro states' rights, and so that is positive for us.
Okay, so you're imagining a system where he wouldn't necessarily encourage full national legalization, but at the same time he wouldn't stymie the rights of states who do choose to legalize it within their own borders.
Yeah, and we do think that states individually legalizing with their own, rules and regulations is something good for now. We do like seeing how it goes in different states. Washington and Colorado were the first two to legalize. We've had a lot of excitement, comparing and seeing how it's going in both states. I think it's good to have a diversity of different types of regulations. Hopefully federal legalization is in the future, but for now we are pretty happy with the way it's going.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, switching over to a different part of the show, which is really important for listeners, people, entrepreneurs, startups, they want to get into this space, but they're nervous about, different roadblocks. So, what type of barriers or obstacles have you personally faced, and kind of how have you surmounted those obstacles?
Well, I wanted to get into the industry as soon as Washington legalized, and I kind of thought about how I was going to do that. I didn't want to leave my full-time job for obvious reasons to go work in something that I wasn't sure was going to play out.
Yep.
So I decided to do it on my own. I started small. I started doing just articles and different reading about what was going on in Washington just on my personal time. And then it kind of evolved from there into what Toke Tank is today. So I'd recommend, if you know anyone in the industry, reach out to them, see how they got involved, and I'm sure that you will find someone who's willing to, take you under their wing, or if you are so minded, you can go start something by yourself.
Okay. So, and then at what point during Toke Tank's evolution did you kind of realize that, wow, this is really working, we're onto something, what was that moment for you?
It was quite early. It was really exciting. It was within the first 6 months of us really rolling out the website. We started really gaining readership. We started getting, publicists and companies contacting us. It really exploded pretty quickly. We were really surprised.
Okay. Yeah, and marketing in any new business is obviously critically important. What type of marketing efforts do you guys employ? Are you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? How are you kind of interacting with the web to promote?
Yeah. Well, we definitely do a lot of social media marketing tactics. We do a lot of regular posting on our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram pages.
Okay.
We found that for marijuana, Twitter has actually been our best social platform. It's performed a lot better than I thought it would. And then Instagram would probably be second to that. And I'm not sure if that has to do with the potential censorship on some of the social platforms, but, once you have great images of marijuana, they do really well on Instagram.
Well, so without getting too tactical, what does that mean to be on Twitter for a complete novice? They know they sign up for an account, they start adding friends that are, in cannabis somehow. They're posting things, but what do you recommend a more regimented approach to doing social media? Setting up a designated number of posts each day, or how do you go about organizing all of that?
Sure. Yeah, this actually speaks to my day job. I work in public relations and social media marketing, so I do have kind of the inside track to that. But we recommend doing a regular amount of updates. And so, actually, let's backtrack. So once you're on Twitter, you want to make sure that your handle is representative of your brand. So we just went with @Toke. Simple, easy to remember, easy for our followers to find us. And then we really started with our self-promotional content. We wanted to show people what we were about. And so once we had a set amount of blog posts on our website, we began publicizing those via Twitter, sending them out with images, sending them out with interesting little tidbits of information. And then that's really how we got started. And then we branched out into more sharing other industry articles and trying to make better relationships with our fellow industry leaders.
I think that's a really great and interesting strategy. So someone who's just starting out, who may feel that they don't have, anything kind of substantial to share yet, should first work on building the content on their platform. And then once they have, a reasonable number of articles or whatever it is that they're promoting, then to kind of really get involved in the social media game. And when people visit their site, they'll see that they are already established, even if in a limited capacity.
Yeah, that's exactly what worked for us. We really didn't think it made sense to start on Twitter when we didn't have any content. And, if people clicked our website, it wouldn't be populated. And so that didn't look very good for us. So we actually built our website, set up some content, and got it all ready to go before we joined any social media platform.
Wow, okay, wonderful. And, another leg of the marketing campaign, of course, is email marketing. Many people are wondering, well, what do we do? How do we get people on our list without just, taking their names and emails off their websites when they didn't really give us permission? And, how should a person go about thinking about that process of getting names, setting up an email campaign? How does all of that kind of play into your broader marketing scheme?
Yeah, like you said, I definitely don't think you should be contacting people if you don't have permission to use their email address. That's something to steer clear for. But we have just been, taking the people approach. Anyone we work with, we've been asking them to share about us on social media, to follow us, like us. We created a robust email signature so that every time we do communications, they have easy access to our social media links and our website. And it really has just grown from there.
Wonderful. Okay, excellent advice. So, don't take any shortcuts, do the work, give people valuable information, and hopefully they will organically share, spread the word about you and get your name out there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there are no shortcuts. It really is hard work, but it's really worth it. And I think that the people part of it has really played into it, building those relationships and getting those followers who come back time and again.
Well, are you still personally involved in the content creation on Toke, or are you moving kind of more into a managerial position where you're kind of organizing and setting things up and putting together bigger strategies? What does your day-to-day involvement in Toke look like?
Sure, I do both. I do take that role of a little bit of the managerial side. I schedule and organize the posts based on our editorial calendar. But we do have a team of writers that provide content. And as we get, events coming in, different products to review, those are delegated off. And then I have the final say once they've created the articles, and then I put them out into our website.
Awesome. So, I'm sure you've seen so many different interesting products and different services that people want reviewed on your website. Does any one product stand out in your mind as just being awesome and, made you happy to have come across it?
Yeah, recently we've really started seeing a lot of cool products for female smokers. You see a lot of vaporizers, a lot of different gadgets, and those are all really great. But, as a female weed smoker, there is a need for odor-controlled bags, and that is something that we've come across recently. They've created a whole bunch of great, fashionable lines of purses, handbags. wallets, and you can actually put your marijuana in them, and they hide the smell, so you can take them out and about.
Wonderful. Interesting. Yeah, so, it's interesting to talk about, female cannabis users versus male cannabis users and whether or not there really is kind of a great social divide. Do you feel that there is something to the idea of really needing female entrepreneurs in the cannabis space um, in a more unique way than perhaps other more traditional industries, or do you notice this any sort of gender gap um, in this
Um,
space?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't think that cannabis or really any industry has a need for a larger amount of female entrepreneurs than males. I don't think that that's necessarily important.
Uh-huh.
I've noticed that there's a lot of diversity in the cannabis industry, and I've heard a lot of things that it has a higher rate of female entrepreneurs than other industries,
Uh-huh.
which I think is really interesting. I'm not sure quite why that would be, but I don't necessarily think that it's an important goal to have more females. It's not something that needs to be dominated like that.
Right, right. Oh, very interesting. Okay, so look, hopefully the market will just kind of organically grow, no pun intended, but there should be kind of a representation of gender according to however great the interest is from that gender. We shouldn't necessarily be striving to put one gender in over another. Just however it plays out, that's how it should play out.
Yeah, that's what I think. And if it falls 50-50, that's wonderful. I think it's very interesting that right now we do have a higher rate of female entrepreneurs, and that's something that I've been thinking about, but I'm not sure, what that answer would be.
Yeah. Oh. Well, one of the interesting things about the industry is its kind of promotional health aspects. So people love talking about cannabis as a medicine. Cannabis isn't just for recreational use, but it's for healing effects. And CBD is one of those compounds that really gives the health that we're looking for. Are you as interested in CBD and hemp derived CBD as you are in cannabis itself? The weed, the THC.
I am. And personally, I do use marijuana for medicinal reasons. It's not something that is really our bread and butter. We focus mainly on the recreational lifestyle aspect of cannabis, the THC, the weed that gets you high. But we do cover hemp, CBD, medical marijuana, just to a lesser extent because we are not experts in that field.
Do you think that field will also kind of be on the rise in the future too, as cannabis becomes more mainstream?
I think it will. I think that, with the rise of states legalizing, I think that more people are going to start turning to cannabis to, at least learn about its potential medical benefits. So I do think we'll see a rise in that.
Okay, well, look, we're getting ready to wrap up here. I really just want to give you the opportunity to impart some wisdom. And we have so many entrepreneurs and startups that are listening that want to get involved. What should they know? We already touched on this hard work, but what is your final thoughts for these new companies getting into the game?
I think you should really be true to yourself. Weed is something that is very, very personal. You smoke it, it happens to you. You may do it within a smoke circle with your friends. You may do it for medical reasons, but at the heart of it all, it's something that happens to you. And so I think that everything you do with your business should be guided by that. It should be who you want to be, and don't let, outside influences, that cannabis closet, your grandparents that don't approve, don't let that change who you are.
Excellent. Okay, well, how can people reach out and connect with you, Elizabeth?
Well, they can go to toketank.org. It's TOKETANK.org. They can also reach out to us at toketank@hotmail.com, and they can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at toketank.
Wonderful. Well, look, Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a real pleasure for me. I think our listeners got a lot out of it, definitely with that social media crash course that you gave us, so thank you for that.
No problem.
And we would love to have you back on the show sometime in the very near future.
That sounds great. It was awesome to talk to you.
Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. That is another podcast, Cannabis Thought Leaders with THC Legal Group.